How do? Welcome to another edition of the Liquid Football Podcast. So the England team got announced the other day. Some new faces in there, likes of Calvin Phillips, Phil Foden, and no Grealish. What are we thinking, boys?
I'm quite excited about the New England squad. I don't think there was that many surprises, to be 100% honest. I think Calvin Phillips probably would have been a surprise, even as a Leeds fan. I weren't expecting him to make it into this squad. I thought he'd have had to play some Premiership football before he got in. I'm sure Southgate's been watching him a lot. I don't know if he'll get any game time. I'd be very surprised if he does get any game time. Hopefully there's a lot of injuries and he gets on the pitch. We could pray. But I think it's a big step for him to get the call up. A few of them weren't surprised. Mason Greenwood does not shock me whatsoever. He's been called up. Danny Ings, I'm so happy for him, but no surprise there. Danny Ings being called up. It'd have been sacrilege if he didn't get called up, especially with, I think Jamie Vardy's retired from international anyway, so Danny Ings makes sense. Phil Foden as well doesn't massively surprise me that he's been called up. I just think he's more than good enough to be in the team. I don't know if Maddison's got an injury or not, though. I would have, if I'm James Maddison, I'm a little bit worried that I didn't get called up for that team, especially when Phil Foden did. But yeah, the team looks strong. It's full of young players. We know Southgate now likes young players. Little bit of a talking point is, where's the left backs?
Well, I mean,
I don't see a left back in the entire team.
There's no.
I'm just looking at it now, don't
There's no Chilwell. He's just got to Chelsea today, hasn't he? That's probably why he's been sorting out that.
He's going to put Trippier there, isn't he?
Well, I'd be surprised if he played Trippier there. I don't think it's a strong position for him.
He's got three right backs, hasn't he? Three right backs
he's
in
got
there.
Kyle Walker, Trippier, and Trent Alexander.
And Gomez to some degree.
I won't go that far. But who's he going to play there? No clue.
Mings?
You're going to play Arnold out on right, aren't you? Mings is more central.
But he's left-footed, though, isn't he? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'd probably go, I guess, at Trippier. Trippier or Walker on left. Arnold on... Yeah, Arnold on right.
Oh, is he just going to purely just play... I mean, obviously, it means playing Trippier or Alexander Arnold as a wing-back, and you've got, like, it's three at the back, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be a 3-5-2
three at the back and
Eric
have
Dyer sitting in there.
Or Calvin Phillips.
There's a lot there. Yeah, or Calvin Phillips. Probably Calvin. I mean...
Well, he does play free at the back. He's played free at the back quite a few times, so free at the back wouldn't surprise me. I just think if you play free at the back, you want some offensive wing-backs. Who's dropping into a wing-back role there in that style of formation? I don't know. Like it's got to be what Daz says, really. It's got to be, is he going to play one of the right-backs as left-back? Or is he going to play a Mings or a Joe Gomez as left-back for once? I think I've seen Joe Gomez play there, I believe, for Liverpool. I can't remember, but Mings is definitely left-sided. But he's not mobile for a left-back. And have we ever seen... Has Tyrone Mings ever played across? He's usually the man in the box. I don't know. It's a very weird situation that there's no left-back. So it's left a lot of conversation between what's the starting lineup actually going to be? What formation are we going to play? Because it's quite intriguing to see that. I thought Chilwell would be in there. I don't know what... Is he injured? Is the surprise? I don't know what the situation is, but Chilwell not being in there is a little bit of a surprise to me.
I mean, even the other left backs. I mean, I know he ended up going out on loan, but there was Danny Rose, wasn't there? He was still getting in the team every now and again, wasn't he? When the teams were announced, and obviously Fabian Delph obviously filled in a few times as well. But he's obviously been, well, he went to sit out
He's had a
trades,
terrible
yeah,
season,
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's probably why
season.
Can't justify selecting him anymore. But I don't know. Like you say, it's just a bit bizarre there. But I mean, like you say,
it's two games. It's two games. So there's clearly a level of experimentation looking like it's going to go on here. And he's been known for that. He's been known to try different stuff, especially in these kind of games. It's just a little bit intriguing. But if I look at the lineup, I think it's strong. And there isn't really massive surprises for me apart from Maddison and probably Grealish.
Yeah, I mean, Grealish... I know Dan's a fan of Grealish, aren't you, mate? But I think attacking-wise as a whole, even without Grealish, it looks very strong. Even with the new additions as well, Greenwood and Foden coming in. Even Ings was like playing in a quote-unquote poor team and still banged in the goals. So I'm absolutely ecstatic that he's got it because it shows that there's a route into the England team if you're not playing for one of the big boys. Do you know what I mean? So...
We've seen that a lot under Southgate, haven't we? We saw it with
I'll
Callum
let
Wilson.
that
Changed the team quite a bit. Southgate's done that quite a lot. I think the big talking point, as far as news-wise, with the squad would have been the left back, and I do think that it is strange that Grealish didn't get picked. I remember his statement made from Southgate.
Yeah.
I think maybe a season ago or so, where he said Grealish needs Premier League football and to do well in the Premiership. And if you do look at his stats this year for Aston Villa as well, a team that was in relegation trouble, he did do well in the Premiership for the position he plays. His stats show that in his appearances. He nearly enough played every game. He scored quite a few goals, some assists. It is a strange one that he has been left out. I don't know what he's got to do to get into the team.
I don't know. Sorry, no, go on, you go.
I was just going to say that the whole thing with Grealish is, and this is an honest thought of mine, and it's something that annoys me about him. He has the potential to be a great footballer, does Grealish. We'll not take that away from him. That's about as far as I go with Grealish on that sense. But the fact of him staying on his feet and actually winning a tackle and staying on his feet and carrying on, or not being bounced off at ball and complaining. When you look at that England squad there, let's take Sterling out of it because we know that he likes a dive or two, does our Sterling. But when you look at that squad, there isn't people there that I can categorically look at and go, oh, they're soft on ball, they're soft on ball, they're soft on ball. I think he likes a nice, when you come to your midfielders, he likes a bit of oomph in there. And I think if you put Grealish in there, potentially it could get booked for diving. It could get, he's going to get pushed off. He's going to try and get tackles, and he might have looked at that because he did a lot of it this season. And there's nobody that can tell me any different to that. He did a lot of that this season, and that's where I come into the whole thing of not being a fan of his. It's because of that. And when you look at Sunday, and I'm not just being biased, but when you look at Calvin, if he does get bashed off at ball, he's up, he's off, he's gone. When you look at Dyer,
that's where we're wrong in the debate. People who are debating Grealish over Phillips are absolute morons because they're two different positions. This is a debate that's going on online, though. People are saying that how's Phillips got in and Grealish hasn't? Well, Mr. Moron, Dickface, they play complete different positions and they play complete different styles of football. So if Calvin Phillips had got in ahead of Rice, then maybe I can see your argument. But Calvin Phillips isn't going to play where Grealish would play.
Look at the competition for him as well.
Yeah, it's a dumb conversation to have. Is Grealish over Phillips? How has Phillips got in? And he's done none of this, but Grealish has got it's a dumb debate about Grealish. I do agree. I don't see why Grealish hasn't been picked. He wins fouls. There may be the odd dive in there, but have we never not seen someone do a dive in this England squad? You mentioned Raheem Sterling, but I've seen Harry Kane dive before. We used to play Dele Alli. I've seen him dive before. I've seen these players. I've seen Mason Mount go down. Some players do that and look for fouls. It is part of the common game. I don't like it, really, but it just is the way the game goes. So I don't see him not being picked because of that. You would have to argue who's ahead of him, and it probably would be, for me, the attacking midfielders there is Phil Foden and Mason Mount. The rest I wouldn't put as a cam. I wouldn't put where Grealish maybe would play. So maybe potentially Ward-Prowse, you could have had the argument. But did Ward-Prowse do more this year than what Grealish did in terms of statistics? I don't know.
I think it sees him as a left winger. Does Southgate for some reason? It sees him as that's it. All he plays. He wants to play him. But that's what he actually said. He's come out and said that he basically the competition is basically Sancho and Rashford and the likes, which is not going to happen. But one thing I think might go against him, like you said, we don't. I know you mentioned it does happen occasionally where they might try and get a dive just to win a free kick or whatever. Probably acts of desperation, probably. But with Grealish, it wins a lot of fouls. Now, if the way we play, would you say we are a team that focus on set pieces? We're not
bad for them.
Well, I know we're not bad, but do you think? Because I'm thinking, would it break our flow, our momentum? If we're getting on top of a game, do we want to keep breaking up with free kicks?
But then I think you that with that statement, you're kind of saying, well, Grealish always looks for free kicks. But I've seen him make some fantastic runs. I've seen him make some fantastic runs and do some brilliant passes.
Oh, he has, but he wins a lot of free kicks every game that I've ever seen him play.
So does Zaha, because he runs at a defence. People like to kick him. People like to kick Zaha. People like to kick Grealish. And he's got a name now for that. He's got a name for being kicked, and he's got a name for going down easy. so that people don't like him because they believe he dives. But I think if you look in the history, he has dived. There's no doubt about that. But so has Zaha. So have tons of other players.
Well, to be fair with Grealish, I think the one thing that's cost him, I believe, is that drink and drive incident. I think that will have gone against him. I'm pretty sure that would have been a bearing on his mind. Obviously, we all know what's happened with Maguire. Maguire he's been picked, then he's been dropped, and then obviously he got found guilty, but now he's appealing now, and chances are he'll probably get a good case. Apparently, they said that the defence, they didn't even have time to get a case to defend against.
We didn't get to have a defence.
Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like it was a bit,
dodgy,
100%.
They wanted the trial done and dusted before he could have a defence, really, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
It's naive to think that there's not going to be maybe some crookedness on both sides. But let's be honest with you. I know absolutely nothing about foreign police.
Yeah.
But you are warned about it when you go on holiday. Yeah. We were warned about it when we went to Greece. So you are warned about it when you go on holiday. Don't trust the police. It can be dodgy out there. It's not the same as in England. They're not held to the same laws. So I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying that he's guilty, but it does seem a little bit sus that this all got pushed through as quickly. The case and him being was done like that. It was like in the space of over a day, and that's it.
Yeah. What I don't understand is, could he not, because obviously he's trying to prove his innocence again, so that technically speaking at this moment in time he's guilty, but now he's, is appealing.
No, not anymore.
Can he not?
Appealed.
Well, that's what I mean. Can he not get repicked?
He's not guilty anymore now that he's appealed.
Why can't he be repicked then?
No, because there's a selection window.
Right.
Okay, yeah. There's a selection window, and because of the circumstances, Southgate had the right to pull him out of the squad if he felt so.
I was just thinking of the late call-ups. That's all.
He can't repick him now unless it was an injury. I don't know how it works, but unless there was an injury, I'm pretty sure Harry Kane can't be brought back into the squad.
Harry Maguire.
And I don't think Harry Maguire. And I don't think he will be brought back into the squad.
Yeah.
I think that it's 2 matches the squad's been picked for. I don't see, even if I think he will be proved innocent.
See, the last thing I'll say on this, because I'm sorry I'm keeping Daz out of this, but I just remember back in the day when we had Lee Boy and Woodgate's cases, and they were seen as, they never got picked until they got proved innocent. And it's just like, Harry Maguire was under this charge, and he still got picked. But I know it's a different manager and a different sort of.
Well, it's a different time period, isn't it?
Exactly. That's why I thought I was a bit surprised that he got picked in the first place.
Well, because I think Southgate he got picked provisionally, waiting for the outcome, knowing he was going to get the outcome that day. So I think that's why he got picked. Because if he'd have been found not guilty that day, then why not have picked him?
He's put a lot of trust in him, hasn't he, Southgate? Because he put his reputation on the line by picking him, because it shows that he believed his side of the story, sort of thing. And then obviously he's had to backtrack on it because it came out as guilty. Because he can't. Do you know what I mean? What's he supposed to do, Southgate, in that situation?
I think he handled it correctly.
Yeah, I do as well. But
I don't think he could have gone any other way. It had to be that way, didn't it? It's, if it, like you say, if he hadn't picked him and he'd been found not guilty, it'd have looked stupid, and then there'd have been a lack of trust, and then he's gone this way of picking him, putting trust in him, and then he's been found guilty, but he could get found not guilty again. So technically, if he gets found guilty a second time, is there a broken trust there then from now on between him and Southgate? Who knows? I don't know much about what's actually gone on. I'd heard his sister had been stabbed with a piece of glass or something, or somebody
injected with something as well.
Yeah,
that's
something.
A rumor.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that much. And to be honest with you, if somebody did that to my sister, I'd batter him. But he is a model professional. He has to act in a certain way and keep his emotions in check.
I think it helps Maguire. I think if the story comes out and what happened is true, his story is true, how do you not? It's a human element. How do you not look at him and think, I'd have done what you did?
Yeah, I'd have done the same. Exactly the same.
Exactly what Daz said. I'd have done what you did. Fair play to you, mate. Fair play to you, because I'd have looked after my family the way you did. So I think he comes out good if it gets proved that what happened.
Surely, if that was the whole reason, then there should be some proof of his sister being injected or or what that must have been taken into
We don't know all the
consideration.
ins and outs, do we?
That's what I'm saying. And if it hasn't, then yeah, retrial him. And if he's done that because of whatever, I mean, you protect your family at all matters. So
I think
yeah,
there's
it's
arguments of
interesting.
crookedness. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's proving that, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
I Greek could be because we beat them if
So
you
I'm gonna say-
I don't know.
I don't think so. But it's silly
I
bastards.
can free kick them out. I'm mistaking him for Beckham. I don't know. It just a man.
Man is making it for Beckham.
Well, Beckham with his skinheads.
Yeah.
Any other surprise conclusions you reckon? I mean, I'm looking at, like you say, Foden's obviously in there. I think it's a long time coming because you could tell he's got the talent as Foden. He just hasn't had the minutes, but obviously with David Silva
And
retiring,
in
I think he's
Chelsea,
going
right?
to get them.
Yeah.
He's going to get a lot more minutes. The next couple of years in particular, I reckon. And then obviously the other one that a lot of people I've seen complain about. You mentioned him earlier, Matt Ward-Prowse. I think he's a good player. It's more like he reminds. I know he could take a set piece, can't he? But is he going to get set pieces when there's Trent Alexander-Arnold on pitch?
Oh, he's a great player. There's no denying that. He did brilliant in that. So there's no denying that Southampton squad, especially the back end of the season, was superb under Hasenhüttl. They played brilliant football, and Ward-Prowse was a real key component of that. Let's remember, Højbjerg, he barely fucking played for Southampton last year. Ward-Prowse was pivotal in the centre of that midfield. And there's no denying he's a brilliant player and he's a good passer of the ball. I just don't see who he plays ahead of. That's my issue. There's a lot of players in the team that are younger that are going for the experience. And I imagine Foden, Greenwood, players like that, maybe even Phillips to a degree, they're going to get to train with the squad, but the chances of them touching a ball on the pitch are very slim. Maybe a substitution appearance. Maybe Southgate just tries to change stuff up and see how these players perform. But Ward-Prowse is just one of those unfortunate names, and he reminds me a tiny bit of Henderson at Liverpool for so long. Maybe not as much now, but for a long period of time. Henderson don't do out. Who's Henderson don't do out for Liverpool? He don't do out for England. But Ward-Prowse is a similar style of player to me in the style that he plays, that you're not going to see these amazing things from him, but he's going to be really important to making the team tick. He seems to be that for Southampton. So I see why he's been picked. I think people's complaints would be there's probably more creative players you'd play in front of him, but you need players like Prowse and like Winks.
I'm going to say, do you
like
think he'll be up
Wright.
against Winks?
I would
in terms of
imagine that
for the position.
you would say Prowse and Winks are probably vying for the same position.
I'd agree. So in terms of other things that's happened, transfers wise, there's been obviously a lot of action at Chelsea. I mean, they look like
What are Chelsea right now?
I know they're
Chelsea?
top heavy, aren't they? At the minute, they're going to defend. Well, they've just got Chilwell.
Well,
but he's not really known
Thiago
for his defensive
Silva-
prowess.
Thiago Silva's nearly signed on the dotted
37
line.
years old though.
I don't care and he's not 37. He's 35.
So I got told he was 37 up way up today out radio.
35, and I don't care. Thiago Silva has been playing at the top level of football for his entire career. He didn't look off the pace for PSG this season. So Thiago Silva coming in, and they need the experience, by the way. That's what they're lacking. They need an experienced centre-back for one season. Malang Sarr potentially coming in on a free. They're doing some business.
Yeah.
If you're Man City and you're Liverpool, surely you're now looking at Chelsea as a team that could threaten you.
Problem with that is with these sort of transfers comes a hell of a lot of pressure, because if you don't deliver, we know what he's like. He'll spend money all day long with that guy. The problem is if you do not produce some goods, that trigger's pulled without a question of a doubt. We've seen it time and time again, and I don't think he'll. I mean, will he do it with Lampard? He's a legend at Chelsea. He could upset a lot of people, but if you don't get the results, we'll see what happens on that score.
I think they only want top four this season again.
I think that's what we should be aiming for.
I think they only want top four again this season. I think that'll be the.
That's got to be a minimum, though, isn't it? That's minimum. Ideally,
yeah, but I don't think that they'll be looking right now at let's win the league. I think they'll be looking at we're building the team now that will win the league in a couple of seasons' time. And I think that is the mindset. And it feels like that with the players that they're signing. Let's have an okay Champions League season. Let's finish in the top four again. Let's keep putting these building blocks in place. and Lampard's going to be the guy to go move forward. And unless something extremely drastic changes, because they're signing model professionals as well. Unless something extreme, they haven't signed anyone that I'm like, oh, we could ruffle some feathers in that bunch of players.
Yeah.
Unless something drastic happens, there is no way. I put my house on it, but I don't own one. That they will not finish in the top 4 this season because their team is looking mighty
on the brink
fine right now.
brink of getting Havertz, aren't they, as well? Apparently, they're building a really young team, obviously with Thiago Silva aside. You know, they're getting some really young players, and it's going to be exciting for them. It's going to be exciting for them, isn't it?
He's free.
Yeah.
How savvy is that? One of probably the key players that you're going to sign. He's going to be the leader at the back. The man has won trophy upon trophy upon trophy. He's got a medal shelf. He's got a medal drawer just full of medals that he's won. And he's going to be the leader at the. They need that. They need that leader because they've got good young centre backs. The Chelsea.
Are you not concerned that with Thiago Silva, it is a bit of disrespect here, but it's Liga rather than it's Champions League wise. Yeah, you can say that. Final. Yeah, Champions League final, and he did play well. But when you're only playing in and he's played in League One for God knows how many years, about 8 years, like it said. It's not. There's an odd team in there that really tests them. I don't know. It's that thing. Everyone says Premier League is the best league in the world. That and the Spanish league, don't they? And maybe Bundesliga coming into it as well.
And the Italian league.
Yeah, but the French league is still below that. And is he going to be? Because you know more than most. So is it a slow? Is it a slow league? Is it a fast league? You've watched French league.
It's quite a fast league. There's some right. So this is the style of French football. It's quite aggressive. You've seen it in the way Lyon counter with such pace that caught Man City completely out of position. Right. Completely. It's a physical league. People don't think it's a physical league, but it is a very physical league. It's not a slow playing league. And the problem is the mindset of, it's the French league. There are we've just had a French team in the final and a French team in the semi-final. Didn't see any English teams around there. The French league is not, people sleep on it. It's crap, it's French league, it's rubbish. Look how many great players have come from the French league. It produces talent after talent after talent. Riyad Mahrez, N'Golo Kante, it's a fast-paced league. It's not a slow league whatsoever. It's not like the Italian league where it's slower paced, defensive mindset. It's very quick, pacey wingers. Look at the style of football that Lille play as well. It's not an easy league. So, and when you're Thiago Silva, you've got these extremely good. Pepe was there. We've got to remember that. These extremely good wingers running at you and strikers running at you. It's no surprise. We've just seen a great big striker from the French league go to Napoli as well in Victor Osimhen. It's not an easy league. People think it's an easy league because it's dominated by one team.
And they play for that team, though.
But it doesn't matter. If Messi signs for Man City, you're not going to go, he's old and he plays for the best team in the league. Well, not the best team in the league anymore, but played for the best team in the league. You're still going to think, damn, Messi's a great signing. There's no doubt about it. This guy performs and has performed at the top level his entire career. Still doing it in the Champions League. They didn't concede that many goals in the Champions League. And doing it in the French league on a weekly basis, I have no doubt. And the thing is when you watch him, he's a very physical centre-back.
Oh, yeah.
He's always like Ronaldo. He doesn't look like he's aged much. He's kept himself in pristine condition. He's fitter than any of us three. And I have no
Speak
doubt.
for yourself, mate. I just took me stomach in.
Strength-wise, he suits the Premiership. He's a very strong defender. So...
I'm not saying he's a bad defender. I'm just saying that it's a different league, and obviously it's playing against better players. But in my eyes, better players week in, week out.
When you look at the one defender that sticks out for me in the transfer market at this moment in time is Nathan Ake, who's gone to Man City for £41 million. Now, is he the right caliber of player that Man City are after for that price as well? 41 million. I mean, we talk about Thiago.
Zero.
Yeah, for nothing though. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's gone there for nothing. Why did Man City not pursue that?
Because Thiago Silva doesn't play the style of football Man City want to play.
Yeah.
Nathan Ake is a ball-playing defender. He's very good on... Forget his defensive ability. He's very, very good on the ball.
I mean, we've
He's
touched on
proven
it.
time and time that he's good on the ball. Thiago Silva is not. He's going to be a leader. He's a John Terry. He's an enforcer at the back. He's going to be strong in the tackle. He's going to be strong at the corners. He's not the guy that you're looking at to be silky smooth and passing the ball out from the back. That's not his style.
It's
That's
Peter
not
Kay.
PSG's style.
Have it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
There you go.
for me, that is something that Man City needs. Someone who's
They'll
someone who's
never
strong.
do They will never need
Um,
that while Pep is there because they'll never play that style of football.
We've touched on it before, haven't we? That they need to improve their defence, Man City.
God, yeah.
100%,
I
yeah.
can't see how Ake improves it.
You might be
that much.
surprised. You might be surprised.
I,
Look at-
do like him. I always buy him on FM when I'm not like that level of table. But I do like him. But I do.
We trust who Bielsa signs because he's going to fit our system. And I think Ake fits Pep's system. And that's why they've signed him. And I think he could end up becoming a very shrewd signing when in 3 seasons' time, we're talking about him as one of the best centre-backs in the world. Or it could go the other way. But
Yeah, well, it's a big flop,
he's
you
at the
know,
right team to be able to prove himself.
Yeah. Well, this is it now for a minute. This is make or break. Like you say, he's got no hiding no more. He's got to produce the goods.
Well, this is the thing, is that obviously had been under a lot of pressure for God knows how many seasons being at Bournemouth. You know what I mean? They're not exactly a team that dominate the ball. So they're going to get attacked more, aren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's going to defend a hell of a lot less at Man
I
City.
won't be surprised if he looks like a Rolls Royce defender at Man City because he won't be doing much. He'll just be playing it out up front back. A bit like what Wernicke to Ben White and Liam Cooper, get it back and just pass it out. You know, that's all Ake will end up doing most of the time. Only against the teams like, your Liverpools, maybe your Chelsea's this year, and maybe one or two of the other dangerous sides. Yeah, he's quick. He's going to be really good at covering. He's not the tallest from what I remember. I think he's about 5'11", yeah. So you'll have to wait and see.
They don't buy height though, do they? They
No.
don't buy height. They're not looking at height.
And look what he did at Barcelona with Mascherano back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it could be something similar to that, I guess. So.
He's signed him for his ball playing ability, and I'm on the fence with it, but he could end up being a brilliant centre back for them. It depends what Pep can get out of him because it is a different style of football to what Bournemouth play.
Of course it is, yeah. So I have seen a rumour that Spurs are in for Doherty of Wolves, the right wing back, rumoured to be about 12 million quid is what I've seen. But I guess in terms of other deals, there's likes of James Rodriguez, maybe off to Everton. That'd be some sort of signing, wouldn't it? Ancelotti factor.
Well, I would like to hark back to the first podcast, I believe, where we did a Premiership review, and I think I mentioned that you don't sign Ancelotti unless you mean business.
Exactly.
And they've also been linked with Alan as well, and the Corey for Watford. So, I mean, they're looking pretty good at the minute. I've got to be honest with you. If Everton pull off some of the transfers that are going to happen, I mean, James is a big one. I know Ancelotti he signed him after he won, I think, did he win the Golden Boot or Player of the Tournament in the World Cup?
Yeah,
and Ancelotti was the man that brought him to Real Madrid, also the man that loaned him at Bayern Munich. So Ancelotti has a bit of history with him, and I think he's a brilliant player, just never really had the opportunity. And he's fairly physical and decent on the ball. So if I'm an Everton fan, I'm extremely excited about that news. I'm extremely excited about the Alan news as well, if they manage to pull that off. And the Corey as well. Their midfield, that you've got 3 midfielders there. That's your midfield done. Stop touching that now. That's set. Everton are going to be a problem. I said this. I said you don't sign Ancelotti unless you mean business. And I know they've got money. I knew that from the past. And they've spent before and not so wisely with some of the players they've signed. I'm not saying that Iwobi wasn't good and they paid a big fee for Richarlison and whatnot. And maybe they Schneiderlin and they haven't particularly signed players that are top tier, in my opinion. These are brilliant players that are playing at big clubs, apart from the Corey at Watford. But he's heavily touted. I mean, PSG wanted him for a long period of time. So these are really big names, and that's what you expect from Ancelotti, and that's what we're getting. So dark horse already, for me, would be Everton. I think it's brilliant.
You see him threatening top 4?
No, not yet. But
European
if they got
spots, maybe.
top 7, if they got top 7 and got Europa League football, you'd be really saying that the project's starting to build there.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one.
They're looking at Moise Kean though, isn't he? Looking at going back to Juventus.
I
And
can't
there's some-
going back to Juve. There is a deal. There is a
Well,
buyback deal there, but I don't see Juventus activating it. I mean, they're letting Higuain go on a free.
And Sammy Khedira.
I don't see why Juve would ever re-sign Moise Kean. It's not like he's filled himself with glory.
No.
I do, because if they got him back, I reckon they'd sell him on for twice as much, probably. They're quite a shrewd...
But they
when it
wouldn't
comes
be on a buyback. They wouldn't be able to sell him straight away.
Possibly not straight away, but they might do for a year while Pirlo builds his team, and then...
But who's going to pay more money for Moise Kean after the performances we've seen this season than...
I mean,
Yeah, I didn't
Then
know,
now.
has he really?
I touched on it in a different podcast. I thought that he was... he didn't get the game time, but he was highly rated in Italy, and I know AC Milan and Inter Milan especially looked at him in great depth. So you never know where Juventus, because they'll pull something out of the bag with it. But there was I don't know if there still is, but there was some rumours of, I think it was Marseille wanting him, but they can't.
I could see a long deal.
Yeah.
I could see Everton loaning him out. I think he's a young one. He's one for the future. And I think Juve knew that he was one for the future and he weren't going to play there, so that's why they let him go. I could see him being loaned maybe to the French league for a season, and then maybe even going permanently to that team if he has a good time. But I don't see him. He reminds me a lot of Batshuayi, which is sad because I rate Michy, but he reminds me a lot of him, a player that definitely has something, has some potential. When I watch him, no end product yet, but he always seems like he's putting the effort in. He's trying. He's a very physically strong player as well, but he's just not going to get the game time.
So his development's getting held back, basically. Yeah, it's a funny one.
Doherty's a strange
with
one
him.
because how on God's green earth Wolves part with him for 12 million? There's got to be something going on there. That's why? He's been brilliant to them. I remember the goal he scored against Man City last season. A fantastic moment to make it 3-2. He's been pivotal since they got promoted. How is he only 12 million? I'd be surprised if Wolves accept 12 million, but if they do, something's going on.
He's not English, is he? So there's not that premium. He's
It
Irish.
doesn't make a difference. He's a performer in the Premiership.
I know, mate, but you know what I'm saying. If Leeds are getting, Spain's, well, theoretically number 9 for roughly about 27 million, right? You imagine England's number 9. I know it's Harry. I know it's different, But you know what I mean. Harry Kane, basically.
Who's England's number 9? And to be fair, out of Spanish number 9s,
Yeah.
as much as the national coach likes Rodrigo, you probably wouldn't pick him in your Spanish side.
Probably not. No. I'm just throwing it out there. So in terms of comparison, although
there is an inflated fee for English players, but there's also just an inflated fee if you're a decent player. And when you play in the Premiership, you tend to cost more. And he's been playing at the top level. I mean, they keep finishing 7th. He's in a team where they keep, and he's a starter. And 12 million just seems like someone you'd sign from the Dutch league for 12 million.
Quid,
who's a starter in the Dutch league. This guy's a starter in the Premiership. There's no way he's 12 mil.
Unless he's only got a year left on his deal or something. It's the only thing I can think of. I wouldn't know that.
Well, is Spurs a bigger team? This is a question. Is Spurs at this moment in time?
Some people here.
I don't care. Is being at Spurs at this moment in time a bigger prospect than being at Wolves?
Wolves are building
Yes,
something
in
out.
some aspects.
But a lot of people would argue Spurs. They've had one really bad season, and all of a sudden everyone's it's like you're writing them off as a big team because they've had one bad season.
No,
Chelsea had a bad season and won't league next season.
It's
didn't they?
not
I know it's
writing
Chelsea.
them off. I'm not looking at their transfers now and thinking they're trying to be a big team again. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at their transfers and I'm seeing Højbjerg. Great, cool. Reject from Southampton. Who else have we signed? I'm not looking at that team and seeing Mourinho-style signings, which is it's what I expected. I expected them to be bringing in some big names. Dybala was mentioned. That would have been a statement. I'm not looking at Spurs and thinking, yeah, they're moving forward with the players they're signing, while other teams around them are.
But where would they actually need to strengthen otherwise? Because I mean they've got on paper they've got a decent squad.
They need a right back.
What,
Sergio
Doughty?
Aurier, he's not a fan. They need a left back. Yeah, but is Doherty? Would you say Doherty is perceived? Well, not at 12 million. Clearly not perceived as top class level.
There's not. Is it what? Who's out there who's top class level though for Spurs?
We'd have to go.
We'd like to go. Don't forget the
United
Champions League.
Atletico. They should have never let Trippier go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There are players out there. The situation is there's still no striker to back up Harry Kane.
Well, Son, I think, usually does, doesn't he, when he's injured. It's just
Yeah,
when they're injured together or whatever.
They don't score they do not score enough goals when Harry Kane's injured. That's why they've done so badly, and they always do badly when Kane gets injured.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
The thing is it's taking Spurs from where they are now, right? And let's remember they had one unbelievable season, Champions League final, top 4 finish, brilliant. They've been a top 4 team for a few seasons, brilliant. The other teams are now getting better.
Yeah,
and I don't look at them and think you're getting better.
They're stagnating, aren't they?
Yeah, I would be worried if I'm a Spurs. I like Spurs, and I've watched them throughout the years for the football that they play. I would be worried if I'm a Spurs fan that we're not making signings that are going to push us forward.
Looking at Demi Gray, aren't there? There were rumours about that. £20 million for Demi Gray from Leicester.
It's that young kid in a young
winger.
Demarai
Gray.
Yeah, so he'd be the backup for Kane.
No, he wouldn't. He's a right winger.
He's a winger or a left winger, inside forward.
Yeah,
unless he's going to put Son more
yeah,
up top.
There's something about it. I'm sure I read this somewhere. There was something about he was bringing in striker, Demarai Gray, whatever his name is, and it was striker that hit me.
He's not a striker.
Unless he's thinking of playing him there.
He's never played striker for Leicester, and his end product is pretty poor, if we're being honest. He's quick and tricky, but he's pretty poor with his end product, and that's why he's not a starter for Leicester. So if he's not a starter for Leicester and Spurs are rumoured to sign him, as much as he's a good young talent, English talent, that don't fill you in. Yeah. Top 4, challenging for the league.
If you were a Spurs fan and you were linked with Suarez, let's say Suarez, he's out there, his feet, or Higuain, as we mentioned earlier, Pirlo's chopped him. Would one of them two fit in there at Spurs?
I think what would worry you with Higuain is he's been in the English league and not done it. But he has played under Mourinho before.
Yeah.
And he could potentially be a good option because you need someone who's going to not want the limelight because Harry Kane is going to have that limelight. So it's a real difficult situation at Spurs. I think Harry Kane makes them great, but also hinders them at the same time because you can't find another striker that's going to play second fiddle to him.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's near enough impossible for you to find a second striker that will play who knows, walking into the club, already knows, I'm not going to play the upper 70 to 80% of games this season because Harry Kane is going to play. So that causes you a huge issue. And then defensively, they've got problems. They've got an aging back line in Alderweireld. Vertonghen's gone now. Yeah. They've got Sanchez, who is susceptible to a mistake, but I like him. Who else is there at centre-back? They need another centre-back. They need a right-back. And no one they're looking at signing right now fills me with confidence that I'd want to be at Spurs more than Wolves. I feel like they're very similar.
I can see where you're coming from, but I still think that a lot of, especially Spurs fans, will disagree. It's just because based on that, but I can see what you're saying.
They're disagreeing from bias.
Yeah,
the season's just shown us what they can do.
It's just like I say, it's a transfer business, which is what's backed up your argument, and I can see where you're coming from in that regard. But like they'll say that they're not the same level as Spurs. Spurs have got more pulling power, etc., etc. That's what they'll think. It's just that they haven't made any. They've only made that Højbjerg signing. That's it, haven't they? They're still tied.
They're not. Look who they're linked to. Demarai Gray.
Yeah, but we're linked with Messi, but we're not going to get him. It's opposite scale.
But that's what I'm saying. We're linked with bigger players than Spurs.
It's probably a joke. We're only linked with him because of Bielsa.
We just signed We're going to sign Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Spanish international. Scores goals.
Stop
what
Messi.
Are Spurs doing? No, but what are Spurs doing at Strike Force?
Yeah. For Bamford.
Like you said, they can't do much, can they? Because you said it because of Kane. Harry Kane.
This is what I'm saying. Teams are improving and they aren't.
They just need to get a better defence, and I think they'll still be all right going forward. And that, I can't argue. I know Spurs fans love Winks and that; they seem to do anyway. But there's got to be better than him out there, isn't there? Someone who can not just recycle the ball, but play a forward pass as well.
You've got to get Dembele playing
Yeah.
You know, you've
He's
got to
rumored
get
to
him
be leaving,
performing.
apparently. I've heard.
Yeah. Well, you've got to get him performing, or he's going to go. And they paid a lot of money for him, and he was a superstar. So you wonder what's happened since he's got there. What's going on?
I think he had a bad injury, didn't he,
was-
at the beginning?
He did, but he's an absolute star when they signed him. So for me, I'm basing it purely on looking at the teams and the teams they have on paper, and the way Spurs have been playing. They're not signing players that make me think they're going to be challenging.
Do they have the money?
Whereas Chelsea are.
Do they have the money?
Well, well, where's the money gone? The stadium's been done and dusted now for 2 seasons, which was holding you back before from spending. Where's the money gone then?
Do you think coronavirus has affected because obviously they spent all money on stadium to get people getting more revenue through whether it be alcohol sales or food sales or whatever?
For me, that would be an excuse. When you've seen other Premiership clubs spend more than you and smaller Premiership clubs spend more than you,
That's true.
there's a problem. I'm not saying they should be spending like Chelsea are, but they're missing great opportunities to actually have a chance of being a challenging club. You're not going to get another Harry Kane again who you didn't pay a penny for. You're not going to get another man like him. You're not going to have a squad like you've got now forever. This is the opportunity to add the correct players to make you a challenger. What I'm saying with Spurs is I'm not likening them in the sense that, them and Wolves are the same on paper. I'm likening them to top 7 sides, and I'm likening them to the bottom end of top 7 sides. Do you see Spurs in the top 4 ahead of Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, or Man United?
It depends what Man United do, but
I
Man
think
United are probably more
do
likely.
nothing.
They're probably more
I
likely.
could see Man United do nothing and look at how well they ended the season.
Yeah.
Forget them going out in Europe. Look at how well they ended the Premiership season. With Bruno Fernandes there, they're a different animal. Mason Greenwood coming in again for another season. They're only going to get better with the young players they've got.
But
Even without them adding anyone, I would still fancy Man United getting top 4 over Spurs.
Yeah, you see Chelsea adding, and you don't see Man United adding, and you can see there being a little bit of a gap there this year, possibly.
I think there's 3 teams that could potentially challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a big gap to the rest of them, isn't it? Like the best of the rest to get 4th.
I mean, they haven't lost anybody really, have they, Man United, in all fairness? I mean, obviously, Sanchez has gone to Inter Milan, which was inevitable anyway. But yeah, so it's not exactly a loss. I mean, they freed up a lot of wages on him, but I just, where would Man United come into? Who would they buy?
So
there's still time for Inter to be linked with players, but I still think with the squad they've got now, I'd still fancy them 4th and Spurs not. And I like Spurs. This is not me saying I hate Man United and I like Spurs. But if I'm looking at it from an objective standpoint, what Spurs are doing right now does not excite me whatsoever. It doesn't. And I think they're missing a real golden opportunity. I don't know where all the money's gone. I don't know why they're not bringing in good names. It seems really strange to me that the signing that we can talk about is Højbjerg, and that's pretty much it. And now rumoured Doherty for 12 million. They're not top 4 challenging signings.
I'm just touching on it, like Wolves. Am I right in thinking that Maitland-Niles can play right wing back? Am I right in thinking that's
he can play? He can play fucking everywhere. He can play centre mid, right wing back, left wing back.
They're bidding for him at the minute. They said they've had 15 million bid rejected, but it looks like they're keen on getting him. Maybe that's why Doherty's on his way out, because he's going to replace him. But if that, like you said, they're improving. In theory, I mean, Doherty's been awesome. Don't get me wrong for Wolves, but essentially was a championship player when it's come through. Maitland-Niles has shown like an element of promise, which I remember some people disagree. Do you, Matt? That's fine.
I completely disagree with that. I'd rather have Doherty than Maitland-Niles at right back, to be honest with you.
Well, fair enough. I just thought because he's younger. He's younger. He could progress more. And under Nuno,
he's a cheap as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's
like 15 million.
Exactly.
Like
exactly. 15 million. Oh, looks like it's going to be
more. I
more.
would have him to replace Doherty. I'd have him as well as Doherty.
Right.
They played like 50 odd games last year.
Yeah, Costa did. Yeah.
So I'd have him as backup. And someone who's versatile, could play several positions.
Well, they've got Europe this time. They haven't got Europe this time, so they only have the normal. Yeah, because they'll be stuck because of FA Cup win because of Arsenal.
They played more games than anybody.
I know.
And they still finished 7th.
Why do you think I get me enthusiasm for maybe them finishing 4th? you remember I put that in the predictions?
Well, yeah.
I've got that's. I don't think that. I mean, it's a big punt, but I could see him definitely finishing top 6, 5th or 6th. But
I just worry. I worry for Spurs and I worry for Spurs fans. And if you are a Spurs fan and you're not worried at what's happening at the club in terms of transfers, then I don't know.
Do you think that they'd look at a team like Crystal Palace who've just signed a good old Easy
yeah,
as I call him, and think
He'd have been
we
a
should,
great
we
Spurs
should have
fan.
had him. We should have had him. When you look at him, you think.
Danny Lauder as well.
I
but
watched.
can I just
I
throw
watched
this?
that.
Sorry, Daz, just really quick. Can I just throw this out though? You're on about these signings, Eze and Loader. They're Championship players. If Spurs are
Dele
signing
Alli.
those, yeah, but you've
Dele
just
Alli.
said Doherty's not exactly
No, but you would see that as a Spurs player, a creative,
right.
going forward style of player, like a Dele Alli. They would try and replicate that with Eze
Right.
and with Loader. You can see that. Doherty's no spring chicken anymore.
I think it was
He's
about
an
28 or
established-
something, 29.
He's an established Premiership right back.
Right.
Right, and I think he'd be a great. I do think he'd be a great signing, but he's not a big name.
Mm.
These two players, Danny Loader and Eze, they're your potential.
Yeah.
What is it? I remember going
Sorry,
to
Daz.
the QPR. I remember going to the QPR away game, and I didn't really know much about this kid. You look at team sheets, you think, it's all right. And he was all over. He was constantly looking for the ball. He was constantly, when he got the ball, he was making things happen. He for me, I looked at him and thought he would be a perfect fit for a team maybe just outside the top 4, with the ability and the vision and what I saw of him. I don't know what it was, but it attracted my eye to watch him off the ball and see where he was going, what he was doing, and he made everything look simple. And I know it's Championship standard, but like Matt says, you've only got to look at players like Dele Alli that have come from Championship and maybe
League One,
lower and proved that they can do it in the Premier League. I think he's a quality signing for Crystal Palace. I'm not sure what's happening with Zaha, but if you get him in the middle with Zaha out on the right,
You wouldn't want them two running at you, would you?
No, it could be dangerous.
Really do some damage to a lot of
If they
defenders.
keep Zaha, that changes my opinion on Palace because I won't want those two running at me at any time of the day. Two very strong, athletic, and quick.
I don't think
forward
they're paying a great deal for him. When you
16
think about
million,
it.
I think. Right?
18, 16 million. I think it might be 16, eventually rising
Yeah.
to 20.
Yeah. I think
15
that's
with plus around 4.5 million in add-ons, and Rangers have also negotiated 20% of sell-on clause as part of the deal. So yeah, but that's a snippet for him. I think he could be a quality player. And I think before long, he'll be international standard.
Yeah, there's been.
I look.
Sorry, go on, mate.
Sorry. Well, I just look at players like him, and I think when you're that athletic playing in the Championship, you're going to fit the Premiership. I know people say, "Oh, it's Championship and it's Premiership football," but there are certain players that they could play in the Premiership. They can hang in the Premiership. I mean, we saw it with Wolves when they came up, and we see it with Sheffield United when they came up, and Bournemouth when they came up to a degree. There are players playing in the Championship that will just slot straight in. Maddison was one of them. And I see Eze being one as well. He's really physical and athletic, and for me, he could be magical at moments, and that really must make Palace fans feel very excited. And I just don't. He would have been a good Spurs signing in the sense of I feel like he's quite an exciting young prospect of a signing. So if you're going down the youth route and you're rebuilding like Chelsea did, they used their youth team players for once, which was exciting to see. I think Spurs fans could get behind, we're signing young players for the future.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a valid point. So Eze, he does look like he's going to be. I was surprised. Give it about 5 years, he might be in and around the England team, maybe as one of the. Yeah, I could see it happening. He has got that ability about him. It's just we just need to see him step up, a bit like a lot of players that come up from the Championship.
Do you know something? That particular game, that QPR away game, was Jack Clark's first game for QPR on loan. And I was looking more forward to seeing what he could do against Leeds. And it turned out that Easy E, as I call him, it made him look
But blew him out of water.
amateurish. It was unbelievable. Like I say, watching him it was a breath of fresh air. And if I were a QPR fan last season, you'd have been thinking, oh God, if we can keep all of him on loan for another season, we could really push on with this guy, because they're front three that day were doing well. But he stood out like a sore thumb. He like I say, international standard, couple of years. Tops.
Touching on that, we should probably apologise to Spurs fans for robbing them.
Yeah.
See, Will Clark even feature for Tottenham. I personally don't think.
No, he's not a Mourinho side.
It was sold.
He'll go out on loan. No, he'll go out on loan to the Championship again. Yeah. He was, for me, when we sold him, people, don't feel for Leeds. I was like, I think we're counting the cash on this one. He barely started. He's been goodish for like half a season, and we've just made all that money off him.
It was weird because he was really good when he first came to the scene for us. But then he had that illness attack. He fainted, didn't he? And he wasn't the same player. He wasn't the same player. I don't know what's happened there, but he just was not the same player after. It's probably coincidental.
He had sparks of being good.
Yeah, but he did make things happen.
I think they saw it with the health side of it, and I think they knew. I think deep down something may not have been said to Tottenham, but I think the medical staff have maybe said to whoever's in charge of shipping him out by saying, well, look, he could be a liability, this guy, so maybe move him on if you get a chance. And ever since that game, that Middlesbrough way, he was never the same player, never.
I don't think he was that good.
No, it wasn't amazing, but he did make things happen.
He was riding momentum, and he was riding the wave. You see a lot of players do that, and he was in great form, and he rode that wave. And then when he had his illness, he was out for a little bit. He come back and couldn't find the same form.
Maybe,
and it's difficult.
And we were out of form as well, weren't we?
Yeah,
to be
fair.
fair.
A couple of bad games, and then you start to doubt yourself, and all of a sudden the hype's gone away from you. And we made a lot of money. It was great.
It was awesome. One thing we haven't really touched on, especially the transfer side of things, is goalkeepers. Now, obviously, Chelsea, they were on about Kepa. Is he up to task? But another person that's made the news today is Henderson, Man United keeper, signing, I believe, 120 grand a week.
It's a lot of money.
I mean, I'm pretty sure De Gea's on 350 or something, so that's nearly £500,000 a week on two goalkeepers. How do you see that panning out, lads?
How does it work for England as well? Touching back on the England subject,
Pickford.
We know as Leeds fans, we've had keepers that have made some shambles in the. Pickford made quite a few last season 4.
But Southgate trusts him though, doesn't he? That's the thing.
Henderson made a terrible mistake at the Liverpool game. So mistakes are going to happen for goalkeepers, especially in the style of football these days. I don't look at mistakes, and I look more at some of the shot stopping. And Henderson is no doubt top.
Yeah. I've got some stats here that Pickford conceded 56, Pope conceded 50, Henderson 33. Clean sheets, Pickford kept 9, Pope kept 15, Henderson kept 13. Percentage of shots saved, 74% for Henderson, 70%.
Yeah, but we've got an issue with that, though, haven't we? We've got Pope with Sean Dyche all season, and you've got Henderson. You've got Henderson in that Sheffield United team all season, and you've got Everton who had the turmoil season and changed the manager halfway through the season. So I don't think you could judge Pickford on that, because the football they were playing at one stage of the year was not very good for Everton, and the defence have looked like shambles. So I don't really judge. I find it hard to judge, because I think Pope, for me, should start.
Yeah, I agree.
I genuinely believe
Pope
that.
Deserves it.
I still think Pickford, has done more than enough to deserve his right to be in and around that England team, because this season, when he's got a better defensive manager, then we will see how Pickford can do it. If he makes glaring mistakes, then maybe. But I mean, Pope was pretty good. But Burnley are always good defensively, and Sheffield United was so well structured as well. Henderson made some great saves. Don't get me wrong, but the defense helped, and I don't think the defense helped Pickford whatsoever.
Yeah. So what about the Man United situation? Is he going to oust David De Gea?
Well, I don't think he's going to do it instantly, but it looks like it's
on the cards, isn't it?
Definitely an eventual thing. That you can see David De Gea probably this season at Man United. And then I think you could probably see him go to another club next season. I think this season will be a season for them to sort of prep Henderson for life at Man United, and next season.
Well, it sounded is it a 6-year deal or 5 or 6 year deal? I think
Five with a 1-year optional extension.
Well, when you've got a prospect like that, why don't you? Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's a great bit of business from Man United tying somebody down like that.
Worries you. Why?
Go on. I don't know what you're going to say, but go on.
Well, we look at Henderson. We look at his age, not too dissimilar to Joe Hart.
Well, Henderson's similar to Joe Hart.
No. At the time that Joe Hart.
Sorry, yeah.
So I do worry that the pressure will get to him. I'm not saying that's not me saying, oh, Joe Hart was as good as Henderson, because you can't judge it 2 different time periods. But English goalkeepers, we've seen it happen. So it does worry me. I don't want things. I would have preferred he went on loan again to Sheffield United, to be 100% honest with you. It worries me that he could be ruined by the media, by the imagine the pressure now on you. At Sheffield United, there weren't really any pressure. Everyone, you've got all the plaudits. People love you. You're brilliant. The pressure now, because look at De Gea, what pressure he comes under and what stick he comes under. That spotlight's going to be on you now, and you've just signed a massive contract. It does worry me.
Yeah, I can see your point there. I mean, it's not quite 350 grand a week, but it's big enough for the spotlight.
It's huge for an English goalkeeper.
How old is he? Is he about 24? Something like that then? 25? I can't remember his age exactly.
If that, yeah.
So, but yeah, obviously, he's made, in his eyes, like you say, he might have made it big. Do you think ego might get in the way maybe as well? 23. So,
on that money.
But he can't. The thing is, he's
potentially England number 1, potentially Man United number 1, and he's 23. And that just worries me, because Joe Hart, England number 1, Man City number 1, and it fell apart for him.
Do you think it might be? I think it might be a case of, well, obviously they've got this kid who's coming through. He's looking good. David De Gea's getting towards. I think he's nearly. Is he 29? Something like 30. Cash in on him. Get as much money as they can from him.
I'd like him at Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Handanovic is getting on a bit now, and I love Handanovic, but Inter Milan and Man United seem to have this link, and they keep giving us good players. Well, Lukaku.
That was debatable at one time. Even though he scored loads of goals, I don't even know why, but everyone seemed to slate him. Like, having a first touch that ends up on M1.
And a lot of people that slated him were Man United fans. Oh, he didn't do it at Man United. He weren't good at Man United. Well, I think I remember the first season him being absolutely fantastic for Man United, and you don't lose that in a season. So it was clearly the way Man United were playing didn't suit Lukaku. He goes to Inter Milan and scores an unbelievable amount of goals, and some very good goals as well, alongside a brilliant striker. So more full Man United for that. One of the top goal scorers in the league last season was Lukaku. But I think for me, I'd happily have De Gea and Henderson could be number 1. But it worries me. The pressure we put on young English players is too much too soon.
Yeah. I mean, talking about Man United and transfers, obviously, they haven't brought anyone in, but there is talks. I don't know what's going on with the Sancho deal. I ain't got a clue. I don't know if it's dead in water or what.
I think it's done. I think Sancho stays at Dortmund. And I'm happy.
But that's the thing. He signed that deal, and then he signed a new deal, didn't he? 5 years, and it's like all of a sudden he's still like touted to go to Man U. It's like, unless it's like the Delph thing, like when he signed for Villa and then ended up going to Man City.
Man United won't do this thing where they stop pursuing him. But if you look at Dortmund, they went, you've got until this time period to agree a deal that's going to be acceptable and sign him. They missed that deadline. They didn't want to pay what they wanted. And so that was it. Sancho looks more than happy now to stay at Dortmund from tweets, from what's being said. And Dortmund don't look like they're going to sell him now because Man United missed the window. But Man United will still be rumoured with him forever.
Yeah. Man United are rumoured with Grealish, aren't they now? That seems to be a thing heating back up again. Now they're going to get Grealish. I don't think he improves Man United's midfield, if I'm honest with you.
I don't think he's the player they need.
I think that is more like just a hype buy.
Why aren't they signing a striker?
Trusting Martial out there, I guess.
Well, it didn't work for you last year. You didn't score enough goals. Your finishing let you down in a European semi-final as well. Let's remember that. They dominated that game. Absolutely, there's no way, shape, or form they should have gone out.
They just missed like 5 sitters, Martial. I think it was.
Yeah. Not just Martial. Within the team, Rashford missed one as well. I think they missed a lot of unbelievable. There's no way that game should have gone the way it went. And so it begs the question, Why are you not looking at strikers? Why are we talking about Grealish and Sancho?
Who do they go for, though, Man United? And do they have the massive pulling power that they used to get the best in the world?
Well, they should have some pulling power.
I mean,
They are the biggest team in the world, apparently, the biggest club in the world. Not like, in terms of commercially.
They might not have the power they used to have, but they've still got something. I mean, there are great strikers. I mean, look at Immobile, top goal scorer this year. Top goal scorer out of everybody this year. And think of some of the strikers there are in the world.
I think if Higuain goes to Man United, he does well. And he was linked with Man United quite a few times, to be fair. But I think he scores goals.
I think your worry is Higuain going to be like Falcao was? And we looked at Falcao and went, yeah, he'll score goals there. Higuain didn't do it at Chelsea when he had his stint, and Falcao didn't do it at either clubs.
Yeah.
So would Higuain do the same? Because it'd be a big wage.
That'd be a massive wage. Massive. But Suarez ain't going to go there anyway, don't you? So you count him off your wish list on United.
100%, that's another topic. That
They need to find someone. They need to find someone for me up front. I don't think they will. And it doesn't look like they are gonna. It doesn't look like it's even in their target range.
Do you think they're going to put more trust in Greenwood? Especially now he's getting called up for England.
Well, he'll probably play more games now because he's finished his GCSEs. So that will probably help him play more game time. I don't know. A 17-year-old, do you put that much? How much pressure can we put on someone? Look at Rooney. I like him, Rooney, right? I know loads of people don't like Rooney, but in his prime, which surprisingly his prime was like 23. In his prime, the man was an unbelievable goal scorer and a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong, he played in a great team, but he was a brilliant player. Are we going to end up doing the same? I liken it to Michael Owen as well. Yeah. Again, way too much, too young. I like the way Greenwood's being managed right now. He's being eased in. I really do like the way he's being managed now, and he's shining when the spotlight's on him, but it's not on him too much. And it would worry me that it becomes a little bit. I mean, we look at Rashford a couple of seasons ago. He was going to be he's the next big fish in the pond for Man United, and a lot of pressure got heaped on him, and I think it's too much.
Ruined him.
Yeah, like
don't get me wrong. I still think Rashford will go on to have a brilliant career, and he's a good player. Every time he misses a chance, he's absolutely slaughtered. So the pressure to put it in the back of the net will definitely. There's no doubt. I imagine that's got to hold you back to a degree. Because you're thinking in your head, fucking hell, I missed this last time. I got to score this.
Yeah.
It's always the case, isn't it? That's the thing. I mean, I suppose we can't finish without talking about Lionel Messi and his availability. A lot of Man United fans are thinking he's going to go there. I think he's probably more likely to go to the other side of Manchester, isn't he? More likely to go to City, isn't he?
Two clubs in this universe that can afford him right now, and it's PSG and Man City, and that's it.
Oh, I don't know. I'd put Juventus in the mix.
Would you? What? So they can pay Ronaldo what
get
they
Ronaldo
pay
as well. Ronaldo, Messi,
and they can pay Messi $2 million a week as well, can they? You put them in that mix.
Yeah. I'm surprised Juventus. Look
at them making a lot of money off at match fixing.
Well, potentially, but they've just offloaded 1,000.
What about Inter?
No, nearly 100,000. He's on $2 million a week.
We spoke about this. He doesn't need the money. He might take a pay cut.
No, he won't take a pay cut. He won't. We know he doesn't need the money, but he's not going to take a pay cut. I know you want him at Juve, but they can't afford it.
I'd like it. I think, like you said, Man City and PSG are probably the only ones. Realistically.
They've got the money for it. You've got to imagine, right? The man's 33.
33, yeah.
You've got to at least match his contract at Barca. You just have. It's unfortunate, but you do. So it's $2 million a week.
Are you definitely sold on him now? The fact that he's terminating his contract basically, because he's going to be available for free. Well, are you ruling out China or America?
Can we not rule out?
Messi wants to win the Champions League. That is the sole reason Messi wants to leave Barcelona.
Right.
He wants to win the Champions League and has been devastated over the past 5 seasons that Barcelona have failed to do that. Right. He doesn't like the new president or the president that's in charge now, and he wasn't excited about the appointment of Ronald Koeman. He really wasn't, and they've already had a falling out.
Yeah, Koeman upset him, didn't he, by saying...
Yeah, they've already had a falling out.
Said something, didn't he?
I fully believe Messi could leave now if they can agree this release because apparently the release is for in May or that time period at the end of the actual season. So there's going to be an argument there about it.
Right.
But there is no way, shape, or form that Messi goes anywhere unless he thinks he's got a chance of winning the Champions League at that team. It would be the only reason to leave his comfort net and the club that he loves. He wants to win Champions League.
How was his link up at PSG? Well, sorry, with Neymar, it was obviously at PSG.
Good.
It was good,
Won the
yeah.
Champions League.
Yeah,
The
but
only
what I
time
mean,
Neymar-
because why did Neymar leave, sort of thing? Because did he not fall out with someone?
No, he just wanted to be the main man.
Right.
He
is
didn't
that
want
what
to
it
play
was?
second fiddle to Messi anymore. He felt like he'd done
That's what I
everything he
mean.
could
But that's going to happen again, isn't it? He'll play second fiddle to Messi again if Messi goes to
have.
PSG.
We're, what, 5 years on now? And Neymar's not won a Champions League, and Messi's not won a Champions League. And I guarantee they both want to win a Champions League.
Do you imagine that strike force of Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe?
It's
to be-
disgusting.
Yeah, to be fair. That's a very
You
good
know what I
point,
mean?
actually. When you put it like that, yeah, that is unreal,
It's-
isn't it?
It's three players. I mean, let's throw him in there as well. Let's say they get Ronaldo just to sit on bench with money they've got at PSG. But that three alone just scare me. I mean, they played together before, Messi and Neymar. I mean, there was rumours that Paris Saint-Germain might look at Suarez. I mean,
Yeah,
Mbappe's
saw that.
injured for quite a while, isn't he?
Is he?
So yeah, I'm sure I saw something. I might be wrong. I probably am wrong.
Right, fine.
But no, it might be someone else. But if you imagine that front three, and even if they've got Suarez as a backup,
Well, they're not going to. No, they're not going to get both. They're not going to get both. So
No,
Messi would be number one. Suarez would be backup.
but them three in front. Oh, jeez.
It's disgusting.
It
isn't it?
really is where Messi wants to go, and you've got the two options, haven't you? He goes back and links up with Neymar, or he goes back and links with Pep. It's
Yeah.
you've got to be able to convince him that they are going to win a Champions League in the next 2 seasons. It's who
Personally,
can convince him of that.
Personally, I'd like to see him at Man City because I'd like to see him on the turf at Ellen Road. I'd
I
love
wanna
to be
see
able
him-
to see.
I'd
Just
say with
wanna
the
see
Prem, yeah, see how he does. Because
I'd like
that's
to-
been a big argument, hasn't it? It's been Ronaldo's done it in the Prem, obviously he's done it in Italy and in Germany. What am I about Germany? Yeah, Italy and to some degree Portugal in his early life. But yeah, he's moved around, whereas Messi just stayed in Spain all this time. So it'd be
Messi's going to help himself by going to France, though, because the French league is seen easier than the Spanish league.
as we
So-
mentioned earlier, yeah.
Or is he going to
Don't
shock?
help
Is he going to shock everybody, Messi, and go to Stoke and shows that he can do it on a wet, windy night in Stoke? Who knows?
Hey,
It's
if they got
exciting.
£2 million per week, then I don't doubt.
I don't think they have £2 million a year at the moment, Stoke. But,
I mean, Inter Milan were rumoured as well, so have Man United. A few teams have been rumoured. I mean, even Leeds has been rumoured. But, I mean, at the end of the day, there is really only 2 teams that can afford that wage,
City-
and afford to offset that wage. And it is PSG and it is Man City. And my personal preference would be Man City, but I think the likelihood is more likely to be
PSG.
PSG.
Yeah.
They've just been in a final. I maybe he feels like he's got more of a chance to win it there than anywhere, playing alongside Neymar and Mbappe. Oh, it'd be good. It'd be nice to see him in the Premiership. It really would.
Definitely. Right, so let us know your thoughts on all the subjects discussed. Don't forget, of course, to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the socials below. And yeah, I've been Tenacious G. With me today has been the Dazman and Yorkie Man. Thank you very much.